Let me tell you how it really went down, how two kids, new to a place where everyone expects them to fold, ended up rewriting the whole playbook. You ever walk into a room and just know people are waiting for you to fail? That's what it felt like for Marcus and Michael Thompson the first day they showed up at Warriors Path Karate Dojo. Two of the only black students in a sea of white uniforms and confident smiles, 14 years old and already marked as outsiders. But, it wasn't the staring or the hushed whispers that got to them at first. It was the way Jake Harrison and Connor Mills, those top-ranked black belts, stars and their parents' eyes seemed to pick them out like they'd been hunting for fresh meat. From the jump, the bullying was relentless, but it went from bad to downright ugly real quick. Jake cracked jokes about monkeys learning to move like humans as words hit so hard. Marcus said later it felt like being punched in the gut. What Jake and Connor didn't know was that every night, while the bruises from light sparring still ached, the twins trained in secret with their father, David, a man who had seen his share of battlefields, who didn't believe in backing down or backing off. The bullies thought they were breaking 2 yellow belts, but the reality? The Thompsons were becoming steel. Now, this dojo wasn't some back alley operation. It was all mirrors and sunshine, packed with students, most of them gliding through forms like it was a dance they'd been doing since birth. The twins stuck out, not just because of their skin or the newness of their uniforms, but because they moved together, almost like one person. When Marcus faltered, Michael did too. That's what being twins does. Every hit, every slight, every humiliation was doubled. Sensei Mitchell, the man in charge, kept things moving like nothing was wrong. Even when Jake made those comments, loud enough for the whole room. Even when Connor snickered, maybe they'll learn faster if we throw them some bananas. If you've ever tried to hold your ground while someone's digging under your skin, you'll get why Michael's fists were clenched so tight or why Marcus's stance kept wavering. But they didn't swing back. Not yet. Sparring was the real show. That's where the light contact got heavy and the rules didn't seem to apply if you wore a black belt and your daddy donated big to the dojo fund. Connor landed a kick so hard on Marcus, the kid couldn't breathe for a second. Jake swept Michael off his feet and told him, "That's where you belong." And all the while, Sensei Mitchell kept his eyes on some imaginary horizon, talking about discipline and respect. I know, you're probably thinking, why didn't they just quit? Yeah, I'd have thought the same. But quitting wasn't something the Thompsons knew how to do. Every night after practice, Marcus and Michael would sit in silence, bruised and aching, and their dad would look at them like he could see right through the half-truths about how fine class was. He saw the split lips, the limping, the forced smiles. Weeks passed, and every class was a test one they weren't supposed to pass. Jake and Connor ramped it up, making sure every drill ended in humiliation, their comments cutting deeper each time. Even when David, their father, started coming to watch, things only got more subtle. Suddenly, the abuse had an audience, so Jake's encouragement sounded like praise, but the meaning was all wrong. Everyone in that room knew it, but nobody wanted to see it. Let me back up a sec. There's a reason David didn't just pull his sons out. He believed in facing challenges head-on, and when he finally heard with his own ears how those boys talked, saw with his own eyes the way his sons were being broken, he made a choice. If the system wasn't going to protect his kids, he would. That night, the garage became a training ground. The twins learned things you don't get in dojos or from belt test, real self-defense, the kind that's messy and efficient, built for survival, not for show. Jake and Connor didn't see the change right away. They kept up their campaign, but Marcus and Michael got quieter, more focused, less rattled. What nobody realized except maybe their dad was that the twins were cataloging every move, every tell, every weakness. The day the tournament was announced, David looked his sons in the eye and asked if they were ready to step up. "If you're going to show them who you are," he said, "this is how you do it." The tournament was a circus families packed in, everyone expecting the same old story. The black belts would dominate. The twins would be taught a lesson. But Marcus and Michael entered the open division, not the yellow belt bracket, and that sent ripples through the crowd. When Michael faced Connor, everyone expected a quick defeat. Instead, Michael moved like he was in a different league, dodging attacks, countering hard, landing hits that drew gasps from the crowd. When Marcus took on Jake, it was the same. Precise, relentless, not a hint of the fear that once haunted him. When it was over, the twins had beaten the dojo's best. The place exploded, parents shouting, accusations flying. No way, they're just yellow belts. They cheated. Someone's been coaching them. But the records were clear: every belt earned, every rule followed. The only crime was that the wrong kids had won. But here's the twist: Jake and Connor couldn't take it. They jumped the twins from behind as the Thompsons were leaving, fists flying, all that pin-up rage exploding. Only this time, the boys weren't victims. They fought back, not with anger, but with skill and calm, the kind of self-control their father had drilled into them. Security pulled them apart, and when the dust settled, Jake and Connor were on the ground, bloodied and beaten, and it was all on camera. Cue the real fallout. Jake and Connor were banned from competition, their parents embarrassed and furious. That night, those same parents showed up at the Thompson house, demanding compensation for what their boys lost. They tried to threaten David, but they didn't know what real danger was until he stepped out on that porch and made it crystal clear: actions have consequences. When the cops showed up, the law was on David's side. The bullies' fathers went home with citations and busted egos. The dojo collapsed. Sensei Mitchell lost his credentials. Families pulled their kids. The place shuttered. But the story didn't end there. Marcus and Michael, now orange belts at a new school run by Master Chun, became mentors, teaching new kids that martial arts is about respect and protection, not bullying and ego. Their story spread schools called, asking them to help teach anti-bullying programs. They went from outcasts to leaders. So, you ask me what justice looks like? Sometimes it's slow, hidden in the cracks of the system, but sometimes it shows up in the most unexpected: why a pair of twins refusing to back down, a father who won't accept defeat, a community forced to confront its own blind spots. And if you're wondering where the lines are between right and wrong, between self-defense and vengeance, between justice and revenge, maybe that's the real point. You tell me, when a system fails, who decides what's fair? If you made it to the end, I want to know what you think. Was the Thompson family right to fight back? Or did they cross a line? Where's the boundary between standing up for yourself and becoming the thing you hate? Drop your thoughts below, because justice, like any good story, is always up for debate.